Philadelphia Eagles live on moments. Moments that define seasons, moments that change direction, moments that stay in the memory of the fan base for years. And there is something very specific that happens when certain names start circulating around the team in January. The feeling shifts. The atmosphere changes. Confidence quietly starts to come back, even if nobody says it out loud. Because when Philadelphia starts hearing certain signals coming out of the practice field, everyone understands that something important may be taking shape. Eagles fans know this feeling well. It is not blind excitement. It is a cautious kind of hope. The kind that only shows up when there is a real reason for. For weeks, the mood has been about adjustment, about survival, about finding ways to move forward while knowing something essential was missing. And that weighs on a team. It weighs on the offense. It weighs in the locker room. It shows up in how a team takes the field. But sometime, right in the middle of that tension, a clear sign appears that things might be about to change. And that is exactly what happened this week. A sign that guarantees nothing, but completely changes the tone of the conversation in Philadelphia. A sign that sparks new debates, reignites expectation, and makes fans wonder if the playoff picture could look very different than it did just a few days ago. On Wednesday, the Philadelphia Eagles received one of the most encouraging updates of the entire season. Lane Johnson, the all-pro right tackle, and one of the true cornerstones of this franchise, returned to practice. This was not a symbolic appearance. This was Lane Johnson in pads, on the field, moving, working, signaling that a return could be coming, just days before the NFC wildcard matchup against the San Francisco 49ers. After missing the final 7 games of the regular season with a painful Lisfranc injury in his foot, seeing Lane Johnson back on the field immediately changes how you look at what this team could be in the playoffs. NFL insider Ian Rappaport summed it up in a simple way on social media. Lane Johnson returning. Just a few words, but enormous weight behind them. Because anyone who follows the Eagles knows Lane Johnson is not just another starter. He is a foundation. He is a stabilizer. He is the kind of player who changes everything around him. The last time Lane Johnson was on the field was in Week 11 against the Detroit Lions. That is when the injury happened, and at that moment, the concern was real. Lisfranc injuries for offensive linemen are serious. They require time, patience, and caution. Many people believed Lane Johnson's season was over right then and there. Some even questioned whether he would be able to return at all in 2025. That is why the Eagles' decision to shut him down made complete sense. There was no reason to rush him back and risk the future of such an important player. The focus shifted to recovery, and in the meantime, the team had to find ways to survive without one of its most important leaders. During Lane Johnson's absence, Philadelphia relied on Fred Johnson at right tackle, a veteran player who did his job and gave the team what he could. But there is no true replacement for Lane Johnson. The difference shows up in the detail, in the adjustments, in the consistency. The offense loses rhythm, protection changes, the run game suffered, and that showed up clearly in the results. Without Lane Johnson, the Eagles finished the stretch run with 3 wins and 4 losses. The team remained competitive, but it was not the dominant group fans are used to seeing when the offensive line is fully intact. The offense looked less aggressive, less confident, less stable. And all of that connects directly to who is protecting the quarterback. And speaking of the quarterback, no one feels Lane Johnson's absence more than Jalen Hurts. When Lane is on the field, Hurts plays with more time, more confidence, and more freedom to attack the defense. Protection on the right side becomes solid, and that changes the entire flow of the offense. Even the famous tush push lost effectiveness without Lane Johnson. That initial surge, that power at the point of attack, that perfect coordination up front, all of it suffers when a key piece is missing. The Eagles felt it, opponents noticed it, and the results reflected it. What makes this potential return even more impressive is the context of Lane Johnson's season. Before the foot injury ever happened, he was already dealing with lingering neck and back issues. This was not a comfortable season. It was a season of toughness, of pushing through pain, of managing discomfort week after week. And despite all of that, he kept playing, leading, protecting, competing. When the Lisfranc injury happened in mid-November, the organization knew it had to be careful. The decision was clear. Shut Lane Johnson down for the rest of the regular season and hope for a January return. Throughout that entire process, Lane never hid his goal. He talked about the playoffs. He talked about being ready when it mattered most. And his return to practice this week suggests that plan is becoming reality. Head coach Nick Sirianni was cautious when addressing the situation. He did not guarantee that Lane Johnson will play on Sunday, but he made one thing very clear. If Lane is available, everything changes. And when a head coach says that about a player, it is not coach talk, it is respect. It is truth. Very few players in the NFL impact wins and losses the way Lane Johnson does. The numbers make that clear. With him on the field, the Eagles are 110 wins, 57 losses, and 1 tie. Without him, that record drops to just 18 wins and 27 losses. That is not coincidence. That is real impact. But beyond the technique, the strength, and the athletic ability, what the team probably missed the most was leadership. Lane Johnson sets the tone for the offensive line. He communicates, he adjusts, he demands accountability. And when he is out there, the entire offense plays with more confidence, more conviction, more identity. And that is exactly what the Eagles need right now. The playoffs offer no margin for error. There are no second chances. Every snap matters. Every block matters. Philadelphia is still chasing the same goal as last season. Expectations have not changed, standards have not dropped, but the road has become more challenging. This team has not been as dominant as it was a year ago. There have been ups and downs. There have been questions. There has been criticism. Still, the talent is there. The experience is there. The hunger is still there. And a potential return from Lane Johnson could be the stabilizing force this offense has been missing at the most important time of the year. Seeing Lane Johnson back at practice does not mean everything is fixed. It does not guarantee wins. It does not erase the challenges ahead. But it changes the narrative. It changes the mood. It changes how opponents view this team. It means the Eagles may be closer to full strength than anyone thought just a short time ago. And now the big question has to be asked. If Lane Johnson really does return and is close to his normal level, does that turn the Eagles into a legitimate Super Bowl contender? Or are the issues we saw during the season still too big to ignore? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because your voice matters here. If this breakdown helped you understand where the team stands heading into the playoffs, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. That support helps this community grow, helps more Eagles fans find this content, and keeps this space alive for real Philadelphia football talk.